Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Today it's going to be a MidRank Madness game between Mr. Cheese and Valmalisk here on Oxide, the latter edition. MidRank Madness is just my examination of Gold, Platinum, and Diamond level gaming sent to Snipermonkey at the email address in the description. Label your replay MidRank Madness, or else he will probably not see it, but maybe he will. Thanks again, Snipermonkey, for screening all of these. I really appreciate it. And let's go ahead and limit our submissions to 5 games, okay, guys? 5 of your best games, no more than that. If you want to send one, that's okay. And let's go ahead and get right on into it. Mr. Cheese says, well, rip. Bottom left-hand corner of Oxide, we have Valmalisk sporting, hang on a second, the Brood War hatch skin. Tosses down a spawning pool because he got his hatched block by Mr. Cheese. And top right, we have Mr. Cheese, the Blue Protoss player, also sporting the Brood War skin, but it's a Nexus because he's Protoss. And a Gateway first and a Forge first here. And wow. This is kind of a late scouted cannon rush. Yeah, pool's not quite done, so pulling the drones I feel like is a good idea here. Oh, canceled it. Faked you out. Well, there is a forge on the other side. He could have tossed down cannons if he wanted to, but just a little bit of lost mining time, no big deal. And let's see a queen. Let's see a queen here from Valmalisk. Let's go, man. Come on, you have a spawning pool. I know your build is all messed up. I know you're going to forget things. I do it too. I had this happen to me recently. I was dealing with a cannon rush. Had to throw up a pool first. When the pool finished, I did not throw down the hatchery because the timing is all sorts of off here. But 2 sets of lings are on the, or 4 sets of lings are on the way. I apologize. They're going to take down this no problem. I'm really surprised Mr. Cheese is still interested in trying to do this thing. I don't think you need to pull down drones for this. You have lings on the way. Everything's fine. Like, there's Zerglings. Put the drones back to work. Don't worry about... There you go. Don't worry about it. There you go. Let the lings take care of the pylon and everything is going to be just fine. Muy excelente. Excelente indeed. Alright, so just a quick thing so you guys are aware. I do post new casts for StarCraft 2 on Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So if you're looking for StarCraft 2 and you're like, man, Falcon hasn't posted in a while, that's not true. Come to the channel direct and you'll see it. Mr. Cheese says my tea is spilled on my PC. Wow, that's unfortunate. What an unfortunate occurrence there for you, Mr. Cheese. You're probably going to lose this game. You deserve it, says Valmalisk, for blocking my hatch and then trying to cannon rush me on the follow-up. That is pretty mean, in all fairness. Wait, no, says Valmalisk. Just joking. Tone is impossible to interpret. At least very well over chat, unless you're using smileys, right? Emojis, if you're doing a frowny face, okay, there's your tone. Smiley face, there's your tone. That's what I try to do in all of my typed communication. I know, like, I'm 38. I get it. Somebody needs to be cheesed more, says Mr. Cheese. I get it. Like, I'm 38. It's weird for me to use emojis in my stuff, but you know what? It really doesn't matter. If you're texting someone and you're worried that your text is going to come across wrong, they're not going to interpret your tone correctly, toss an emoji in there. Do an angry face if you're mad. Do a frowny face if you're frowning, right? Do a happy face if you're happy. And that way, it's harder to misinterpret what's going on. Anywho, alright, so MidRank Madness is happening. I guess we could give some coaching to these players a little bit, right? I do like the expansion is here for Mr. Cheese. One base is just not going to work against Zerg these days. Overlord comes in for the scout. Love that from Valmalisk. He does got a Twilight Council as well as a Stargate. So I'm going to guess... Oh, then he cancels. So DT, says Valmalisk. Maybe. We could see a Dark Shrine come up here. He didn't cancel the Twilight, just the Stargate. Oh, that's beautiful, though. I love canceling the Stargate there because, look, spores are coming in. Valmalisk is investing in spores. It is a Dark Shrine. Or Void Charge Lot. Oh, Mr. Cheese. He's honestly playing some mind games here. It's been a while since I've seen a player do mind games in StarCraft 2. It would be fake, says Valmalisk. Or could be fake, I think is what he's going for there because the C is next to the X there. So I think it was just a bit of a fat finger, no big deal. But yeah, Dark Shrine coming in, so it doesn't have to worry about Void Rays or Phoenix or Oracles or anything, but It's definitely going to be maybe some charge lots, although he's not getting charge at all, which is interesting to me. I mean, these days, charge lots are just so good against Zerg. Really frustrating to deal with for a Zerg player. If I were Mr. Cheese, I would just get charge if you're not planning on getting charge lots right away. It's kind of like speed for Zerglings. If you're planning on opening some kind of a roach attack, and then it doesn't succeed, you're going to want to make some lings eventually. And if you don't have speed when that happens, you're going to be a sad panda. So definitely get speed for Zealots, get speed for the Zerglings. I mean, get stim for Marines. There's little basic upgrades that aren't very expensive but make a huge difference for your units, even if you're not planning on using them. The best laid plans of mice and men often go awry, is the quote. Robotics facility coming in here for Mr. Cheese. He is making some Dark Templar out of these warp gates, or he already warped them in somewheres. Here they are. All right, so we're just going to walk them across the map. See, the problem with this is that you force Valmalisk to make spores, so he already has detection, right? You made him see Stargate, which means he's going to throw up spore crawlers, which are good at anti-air and also for detection, and that means these guys really shouldn't get a whole lot done. There's detection in every base. There's Zerglings in every base. The DT's like, don't want to waste an attack on a queen. I probably can't kill the queen, so maybe not. I don't know. We've got another DT wandering across here, too. DT blinks on the way, which I'm a big fan of. It's a fun upgrade. It doesn't have to be manually controlled, though. Now, here we go. Here's the DTs hacking away. Queen goes down. He gets the alert. And, oh, pin him in. He can't quite pin them in. Does he have Overseers? He's working on Overseer. So the DTs can't come in here because of the detection. But they're doing a good job staying outside of the range. None of them have died yet. That poor Stalker cannot flee well under cloak of darkness. Predictable, says Valmalisk. You went Dark Templar. Third base on the way for Mr. Cheese. What I like about Mr. Cheese is that he's not sticking on like one base or even two bases. He's got 3 bases coming up, which is pretty good. I mean, the third base is late, but again, he's been extremely aggressive here. So it's totally understandable. He didn't go for a huge macro opening. His name is Mr. Cheese. What do you expect from this guy, huh? I saw the Twilight, says Valmalisk. Yeah, I mean, yes, that's true. He didn't cancel the Twilight Council. And then you added a Stargate. That was canceled though, Valmalisk. Are you expecting? Oh, never mind. 2 Stargates are on the way. So Mr. Cheese is now going back into the path of flying stuff, which Valmalisk is not honestly prepared for at all. I mean, okay, a little bit. All right, he's got the spore, he's got the queen stuff, but if like 4 Void Rays showed up, he'd be in a lot of trouble. If a bunch of Phoenix showed up, he wouldn't do too hot either. If carriers started arriving, that's when you want to Spire. I mean, there's just a lot of things that I worry about for the Zerg player in this particular situation. Mr. Cheese is making too many cannons at his third base, but he really doesn't have enough army to defend this number of army for Valmalisk if he came across. I mean, that's the thing of here, Valmalisk. Just sitting here defending, I understand you're afraid that if you leave, DTs are going to come in and kill all your stuff, but eventually you have to go, and now we're starting to see the Zerg army moving on out. But a single Void Ray can do an amazing job against a ton of Ravagers. I guess Roaches in particular that we're seeing now. Ravagers too, though. They can be pretty good at killing those at the same time. Checking this base, and luckily for Mr. Cheese, there's not a base coming up here because these lings would eat it. Which means third base is probably down here. That is a, you know, initially I thought that was too many cannons. That's probably like the correct number of cannons considering what's on the way. I'd love to see some Ravagers out of Valmalisk. I just think they are so much better than just plain Roaches. 12 Hydras coming in, so he is worried about that. And there we go. He's making 3 Ravagers. In the mix, too, 3 Corrosive Biles will take down a cannon, unless it's being healed by a shield battery. And then, depending on how closely spaced together, and DT blink out, those Biles are, they can kill a cannon or maybe not. We will have to see together. So this is where the Void Rays arrive, and then the Queens are like, get out of here, guys. Pull back to your Queens, dudes, run. Hydra's showing up. These Void Rays cannot stick around any longer. If they turn around again, that one is dead. And they do back out with that extra speed boost because Prismatic Alignment has worn off. Prismatic Alignment slows down your units, bonus damage versus armored, as we're seeing here. And there's a lot of armored stuff here, but they are not ready to go because Prismatic Alignment is a cooldown. All right, so a lot of units in the back here for Valmalisk. He needs to move everybody forward. There you go. So the Hydras can actually attack. Whoa, sorry about that. Come back. Come back, camera. Did he? Oh, he focused down the Overseers. New Overseers have arrived, but a bulk of this army is actually Queens, which is not great. So the Queens are marching on back. Have we been spreading creep this whole time? Kind of. We're a little bit there. Oxide, not a crazy, super mega long rush distance, but having these spread additional creep would be amazing. The problem for Valmalisk is they didn't expand behind that attack, and he's trying to now, but it's after the attack is done. And you are on 3 base versus a 3 base versus a Protoss player here today. So this is turning out to be a little bit problematic if you're Valmalisk. I'd love that he had if he had a 4th base faster. Cheese is doing great. It's on 3 base, 63 workers, making Void Rays, making Colossus. It's a very non-standard comp he's working with here. Immortal, Slow Zealot, Blink DTs, Stalkers, Void Rays, and Colossus. I don't think that's an official build anywhere. Harston might be able to correct me on that. He does know more about Protoss than I do, but it's not feeling like one. These tumors, if they were spreading, you could connect this easily. Easily connect this. I understand you're pooping creep, which is great. Are you throwing down tumors here too, or just allowing the Overlord to provide the creep forever? Seems like a possibility here, but I don't know. You have a million Queens. There you go. So spreading the creep out on the edges of the creep being provided by the Overlord. Oh, there is a tumor down there too. Okay, good. So that single Colossus is a little bit stuck. What are you doing out here, single Colossus? Single Colossus, unless they have a War Prism, are not particularly great. The Corrosive Biles, yeah, not enough to kill that stuff because shield battery healing is amazing. Alright, let the dancing begin here. Yeah, if you're a Protoss player and you see creep coming up this close to your 3rd base, you are not happy about that. Is he sending? Yeah, alright. Oh, this is a problem. Mr. Cheese is trying to expand, and guess what? The links have arrived. Good cancel, though. Really nice cancel out of Mr. Cheese. Enjoying it a lot here. Valmalisk has double the army supply of Mr. Cheese, but a lot of his Roach Ravager, which are not... Whoa. Was there a disruptor? Hold up. What just exploded all that stuff? Oh, there was a disruptor. Nice hit. And then the disruptor died, and I didn't see it. Okay. I was like, oh, it looks like a disruptor here, but I don't see any disruptors. Corrosive Biles getting dodged fairly well. Mr. Void Ray dies because there's enough Hydras remaining that Mr. Void Ray dies. Enough Hydras is like 1. Basically, Hydras are the answer to Void Rays if they want to stand and fight, which they generally don't want to do, and they're fast enough to run at this point. Which is why they're good. Alright, so high ground positioning here. This Colossus doing some work. Mr. Cheese is microing it pretty effectively. And I like that Valmalisk isn't just mashing his face into this army and dying. So I feel like that's what would happen here. But then Mr. Cheese sort of mashes his army into Valmalisk's army and dies. It's a dicey situation for both players. They're both floating a ton of cash. Like a lot of cash. 4,000, about 4,000 minerals each. Production tab looking good for Mr. Cheese. Empty for Valmalisk at the moment, which is not great. Colossus ends up downing after 6 kills, which is not bad. Do we have charge now? We have charge now. Hey, remember how charge is good? Charge is a good unit. It really is. But oh, this Immortal sitting back here is just... Immortal cannon support. These Queens are not going home. The Transfusers are getting tossed down, which is nice. Valmalisk throws down 13 Roaches. Sends his Overseers home. And that Queen dies. So when you see that 9 Queens have died in 13 minutes a game, you assume maybe the attacks have been good, but nah. In this case, all it is he brought the Queens across the map to try to get something done. They couldn't quite finish it off. And as a result, Charge Lot counterattacked. But that's why we have a lot of Roaches. Lurker Den on the way. Spire on the way. 10 more Roaches on the way. Valmalisk trying to spend his money better than Mr. Cheese is. Mr. Cheese going for some bigger ticket items, Colossus and Disruptors, as Protosses want to do. 4th base on the way for Mr. Cheese. Actually, double expanding here to a 4th and a 5th base, when Valmalisk is just sort of saturated on 4 bases right now. Yeah, Valmalisk needs to get on top of the injects. That is a huge deal. Only 4 larvae available here at 14 minutes on all these hatcheries is not ideal. So the injects are happening now, but I imagine when the attacks are happening on the other side of the map, it is more difficult to go back and get an inject or 2 or 3 off. Alright, so the double expand here. Overlord sees it. Valmalisk is not really in much of a position to threaten it at the moment, though. He's waiting for his Spire to finish, waiting for his Lurker Den to finish, to make some Lurkers, which lower-level Protoss will struggle with. There are certain strategies that are good at the pro level, but better at the lower levels because lower-level players will struggle against them. Colossus is one of those things. Disruptors is one of those things. Lurkers, definitely one of those things. I guess Vipers, too. If you can get Viper usage by lower-level Zerg players against enemy Terran and Protoss, it's going to be extremely powerful because countering them requires feedbacks. If you're Protoss, requires steady targeting. Basically, if you are Terran, which can be harder to pull off, again, at the lower levels, which, again, it's a different game. That's why I like to cast these, is because we see crazier stuff happening. You know what I mean? 9 Mutalisks on the way. There's one Stalker available that can shoot up right now. There are also 19 cannons, which is going to be useful against that many Mutalisks, yes. But the Mutas can crush this army because literally nobody can shoot up here. I'm not even sure where that one Stalker in inventory is. Let's click on him, I guess. Oh, right. He's killing this Overlord over here. That makes a lot of sense. 7 Ravagers on the way. Ah, that was going to make Lurkers. I feel like Lurkers would be amazing. There is detection here, though, and it's a lot of charge lots. Alright, so mass charge lot. Oh, the Disruptors, though. Oh, he does have some Lurkers. He does have some Lurkers. Okay. If you've got Lurkers, you definitely want the Seismic Spines. Get that upgrade. If you have a Hive, oh, he's working on it. Okay. It's at the at the Lurker Den if you have the Hive, which requires an Infestation Pit. Mutas, you know, not getting greedy here, just killing what they can, and when the army shows up to deal with them, they're backing out. I like that. Smart plays. Valmalisk expanding again, I think, would be amazing for him, because he knows how much the Protoss has. He knows he's on 5 bases. And Valmalisk is very fully aware he's only on 4, and there we go. And I was expanding left side. Just now tossing down said Hachery. 3 Corruptors in production, Greater Spire on the way. Might see some Brood Lords from time to time. Might not be too shabby. Another expansion from Valmalisk. Love that play too. Again, he's having a hard time spending his money. He still has 2,000 minerals and 1,200 gas. So by all means, just make more expansions. You're maxed out now. So spending your money on units is not going to be doable. But spending your money on expansions is always going to work out. Just a mass roach run by. Interesting play. Kind of like it, actually. I mean, all these roaches are dead. Running is hard to do. Actually, running not impossible to do, as a few of these roaches actually are getting out of here. The resources lost. 11,000 to 17,000. Valmalisk, okay, he's losing more. Valmalisk losing a ton, but kind of what Zerg's into, but geez, basically a 2-to-1 resources loss ratio is not ideal if you're Valmalisk. Mr. Cheese, it turns out, is also Mr. Macro. Some of these players in mid-rank madness, if all they can do is cheese, all they can do is cheese. Right? If you see somebody cannon rush and it doesn't work, sometimes they just absolutely fall apart. Mr. Cheese is not one of those dudes. He's not going to fall apart. But Broodlord's coming in. There are a couple Void Rays and a couple Stalkers, which are going to help against this. Carrier is going to do really well versus the Broodlords at the same time. Does he have detection? He's got 3 observers with him. I mean, this is a pretty good comp. Again, weird comp, but not a bad comp. Yeah, I'd love to see some Banelings versus these Zealots, and then everything else is pretty easily cleaned up once the Zealots are handled, as Mr. Cheese recognizes, and he's backing out. Stutter stepping as he goes, but the Corruptors, oh, the Void Rays are not prismatic aligned, which means they die easily to the Corruptors, and the Colossus die to the Corruptors. And the Mutalisks are fighting Stalkers, well, I was going to say alone, except the Broodlords have arrived. Look at the spiky tails on these Broodlords. Kind of cool. Kind of a cool skin we're rolling here with Valmalisk. I don't know what it is. Someone in the comments is probably going to tell me. I appreciate the help with that. This poor Immortal. Immortals fighting Broodlords is a tragic thing. And resources lost now 17,000 to 21,000. So that is Valmalisk making some good trades, some Gouda trades here. Absolutely, positively. All right, so carriers have arrived. The answer to carriers is going to be Corruptors without question. Got 7 of them. That's going to be fine again, I think, against 2 Carriers. The Phoenix are a bit of a problem. The shield battery overcharge is a problem. Just dropping broodlings on this so the shield battery overcharge is used on nothing is pretty good. Corruptors are trying to focus down... I guess they're fighting the Phoenix. I don't think they're fighting the... Oh, now they're fighting the carrier. So one carrier gonna die. Just kidding, he's fine. All the Corruptors either got distracted or died here. That's a lot of Broodlords. But there's absolutely nothing to protect said Broodlords from, I don't know, like the Void Ray, for example. Or, you know, some of these carriers. Or the Phoenix. 6 Corruptors in production. Stalkers really can't engage. There are just too many Broodlords here. And again, the skin is cool. Is it Stetman skin? And these mech... I feel like meching Zerg units here. So left side base taken by Valmalisk. This one too, but not being saturated, which is something Mr. Cheese has done pretty well. Saturating his new bases. It is 75 to 71 total workers. Mr. Cheese stopped floating his cash. It helps when you've mined out your main and your natural, and your third base is not looking so hot either. Alright, Corruptor count is 9 with 4 more in production. I'd love to see some Storm out of Mr. Cheese. Right, if you're not getting Storm against Zerg, I don't care what Zerg is doing, you're probably doing it wrong. I like the expansion here. Gutsy, too. He doesn't have a ton of cash to throw down a lot of shield batteries and cannons here, so it's very exposed if Valmalisk decides to scout up there and see what's going on, but that does not seem to be in the cards here for Valmalisk at the moment. He is, however, saturating these bases like I asked him to. I appreciate that, Valmalisk. Always the gentleman player. 2 more carriers on the way. +2 air attack coming in. And +3 ground attack. Not bad. No upgrades from Valmalisk at all for attack or armor. Wow. That's kind of crazy. Look how cool these burrowed Zerglings are with minerals. Oh, those aren't... Well, yeah, with minerals in their mouths, but also their little spinning buzz saws are above ground. Totally visible here. I mean, I get that the Protoss player can't see it, but hey, look who found your base. You know, just caustic spray it down. I guess you're worried about... Oh, it's a lot of voids, though. Yeah, suddenly your Corruptor count is not as scary. Because there's a... Oh, the Prismatic Alignment is up. Run! Yeah, they just run. Just running. Broodlord's getting obliterated by Prismatic Alignment. These Zealots won the day against the Defenders here. They're going to get this hatch. Nicely done. Really nicely done. The drones are just... Please don't notice. Please don't notice our buzzsaws. I beg of you. Carrier count, not particularly stupid high, but it is a maxed out Protoss at the moment. Valmalisk is at 133 supply. Crikey, mate. Crikey indeed. Alright, left side base dead. Oh, is Mr. Cheese going to win this game? Suddenly, it's 114 to 72 army supply. Valmalisk is way down in overall supply. He just has a bunch of Corruptors. This might be your killing blow here. Yeah, Prismatic Alignment is engaged. I mean, using it on the Overlords is good. Using it on buildings is good. And then that is... Okay, that's the sources of income for Valmalisk right now. He doesn't have a bank. He doesn't have the wherewithal, and that's your good game. Well played. Mr. Cheese comes out on top here. Valmalisk, I know he's a long-time subscriber. Sent in a loss. Thank you, Valmalisk. Much respect for that. Not many people have the confidence in themselves to send me a loss, but that was great. I mean, that was really well played by Mr. Cheese. He's a little bit scary here. Again, if you can incorporate Storm, you get promoted, I feel like. He's got everything else down. Right? Carrier, Void Ray, Stalker Group running around. High Templar tossing down Storms on these Corruptors would help immensely, but the Void Rays do well enough at this level to get rid of them too. Yeah, a big problem for Valmalisk was not saturating these bases when he should have, when he had them ready to go. And then attacking into an entrenched Protoss position when there is also an army there is hard to pull off. If you can, try to attack bases that are not also being defended by the army. Additionally, some abducts on these carriers would have been amazing. Parasitic Bomb on these Void Rays would be incredible too. But once again, at this level, it is sometimes a little bit hard to ask for Viper play, High Templar play out of these players. Just, if you're having a hard time with Sky Toss, which a lot of people are, including players like Raider and Serral, and Dark and Rogue. But, you know, at this level, if there's not any Storm to bother you, Parasitic Bomb on the Void Rays, abduct individual carriers into your Corruptor Ball from distance so the Void Rays can't hit you. Snipe them down, get rid of those, and then maybe bring in some Hydras for cleanup. But you can afford to make a round of Hydras if you have all the income of these bases as for the long time as you did. So, good one. Really good, really fun. A little MidRank madness there. Hope you enjoyed it as well. Yeah, anytime you can kill, what, 50 drones, that's going to be pretty good for you as a Protoss. A lot of that was toward the end of the game, but... And good transition, too, from Ground Army to Sky Army. Somebody's been watching stats. Someone's been watching Trap recently. Oh, amazing. What an absolutely incredibly good MidRank madness. I hope you enjoyed it. All right, so that's going to be it for me. This is Falcon Paladin coming to you, and yeah, it's a MidRank madness game. Again, if you want to send me a MidRank madness game, send it to Snipermonkey in the description. Again, subject MidRank madness. All right. So, again, if you like what you heard and saw today, go ahead and hit that like button. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /FalconPaladin. And until next time, as always, thanks for hanging out. Stay safe and stay healthy out there, and you take care of yourself.